Dr. Frank. Simon appears. He sits down but doesn't stand. He warbles about George and his incandescent life, and I look at Simon and through his words. There is a trail of memory just long enough to lead me to a stick of dynamite, and I light the end and travel the length of its cord, which reveals to me what it was that first ignited his soul. Simon is suffering from visual artist angst. Perhaps he's a little worried too about the current government's immigration policy, but he obviously feels he is living in a safe place. His concept of the backyard is tainted by an economy he can never understand. He shows a common ability to conjure future paranoia, but that may be a result of studying animation at an early age. Simon says, Dr. Frank, I am not a terrorist, but this morning I woke up to find the FBI at my doorstep. I asked him what I'd done wrong, and apparently his answer was this. You tried to reach a place where independent thought was not only appreciated but actualized. Now you must see we don't live in that type of world. Our world depends on agreement and moving along nicely, and it may seem like short-term gain, but minimum effort gets you nowhere. And sometimes, just sometimes, you're supposed to buck up, but that's not today. I closed the door. Then I reopened the door, and the FBI man continued as if nothing had happened, as if my closing the door had done nothing but halt his conversation, and my opening the door was a surprise, and he was not programmed for a second act, so adapted quickly by pushing my buttons and calling for the umpire. While we wait, I invite him in for a cup of tea. I poison it with a sanguine text, but he just says, I'm listening. The umpire arrives. He waves his arms in the air and says, well, really, I think all this should stop. I don't think words are the answer. I think you should laugh, get some sleep, and tomorrow the world will be righted. And you, my anxious, are right to feel a little off colour. There's a flu going round, and it seems to have crept into the hearts of even the best people. Hush, hush, rest, rest. If you'd like some advice, I have some to give. Grow a patch of grass just 1 foot by 1, and watch the flowers come. I go into the kitchen and pour the tea into the sink, and the filth spreads across a river where it strangles an octopus that floats to the surface and is eaten at a family dinner. All 4 are up all night, but they blame it on the umpire, not my nasty text. Dr. Frank. Simon stops for a while, then he ums and ahs and splutters on my couch. I notice the taint of lungs on a sheepskin rug. I call for the upholstery man. When she comes, she says the blood is type A and is the shape of an alternative text. She calls me over to see. We look at it. Simon continues, Dr. Frank, the problem is that you can pull some characters into life, and then some are too strong. Some have this inherent understanding of reality and avoid it like the plague. If I were a character, I'd be weak and get sucked into reality. I'm not one of the strong ones. You get a feeling they're there, these strong characters. You can hear the rise and fall of their breath at night, but when you sit down to write about it, they buck up and pretend to be deaf. It's like trying to put a saddle on something you can't conceptualize, something that exists beyond anything you can imagine in this fixed place.